In the spirit of reconciliation, the Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship acknowledges that where many of you gather is the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation, who've been living and loving and help steward the land where you are. For other of us, we will be on other First Nations territories. For example, I'm on the in the Coast Salish peoples, particularly the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh. For us, to be able to walk in reconciliation means to inform ourselves of what the issues are for the people that are in the First Nations area that we're in, as well as getting to know what's not going on nationally or across the land, Turtle Island. Welcome, I'm Meg Roberts. I'm lucky enough to be the consulting minister with the Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship. So we welcome all of you, whether you're new to us, whether you've been coming for a long time, and we are also new to doing online. So we appreciate your understanding and patience as we work things out. And also it's just wonderful during this crazy upside down, challenging time to have Zoom as a way to get together and share community. Our theme for April is building inclusion, how to bring people together to include all types of people, all beings on the earth, and how do we learn from one another? So we're going to be using the story of a young salmon to help us explore that. I'll ask Caroline now to lead us in opening words and our chalice lighting.
Hello, everyone. And I especially want to say a special hello to Lily and Rose and Narayan and Satya. It fills my heart with happiness to see you all. I have a chalice here, which I hope you can all see. We light this chalice as a symbol of reunion. We reunite in this Zoom sanctuary to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor all beings and their special gifts in our beloved community. So I'd like to invite you all, if you have a chalice at home there, we could light that all together as I light this.
Thank you, Caroline and Satya. We are going to sing. And the way that we do singing on Zoom is that we have the song leader, in this case, Matt, who is our music director, who's going to lead us in a song that is actually his own creation called Feel the Love. And we just get to say muted and then sing loud and proud. Doesn't matter, you can carry a tune in a bucket, you can carry it wherever you're, or however you want. Just enjoy yourself because singing's good for the soul. So I'm going to share our screen here. I'm going to unmute Matt. And he's going to lead us in this lovely song.
Yeah, I wrote this song when I was doing a kirtan for kids, and but it's really for the kid inside every one of us, because really all the craziness all around us, underneath all of that, there's this layer of love, which just there quietly doing its thing while we go in all our fussy different ways. So. Love on the inside, love on the outside, love in the earth, water and air. Love on the outside, love on the inside, feel all the love everywhere. Love in the flowers, love in the trees, love in the gentle summer breeze, love in the stars reflected in the seas. Feel all the love in you and me. Ooh, feel the love. Love in the sun, shining in the sky. Love in the clouds, floating so high. Love in the baby's cry, in the mother's sigh. Love is just like falling. You don't have to try. Ooh, feel the love.
Thanks, Matt.
Welcome, Matt.
Did that screen share actually work? Did you see the pictures? Darn, are the words? Oh, you know what that means. We're gonna have to sing it again. Hang on. Can you stand it, Matt?
Oh, you didn't have the words, eh? No one.
No, let's do it again.
Okay.
We still don't have any words.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Voila. How's that?
Okay. Love on the inside, love on the outside. Love in the earth, water and air. Love on the outside, love on the inside. Feel all the love everywhere. Ooh, feel the love. Love in the flowers, love in the trees, love in the gentle summer breeze, love in the stars reflected in the sea. Feel all the love in you and me. Ooh, feel the love. Love in the sun, shining in the sky. Love in the clouds, floating so high. Love in the baby's cry, in the mother's sigh. Love is just like falling. You don't have to try. Ooh, ooh, feel the love. Ooh, the love. One more time. Ooh, ooh, feel the love. Ooh, ooh, the love.
Wasn't that beautiful? All right. Thank you for your patience with my technical.
Hey, I got to sing it twice, no problem.
Hey. Thanks, Matt. So, what is a spirit jam, you might ask, if you haven't experienced it? So the idea of a spirit jam is to have all ages come together with body, heart, mind, and spirit and be able to experience things together through activities. And we like to give you a choice of what the activity will be. So we're going to share a story first, and then I'm going to explain a little bit how we do our rooms. We're going to go into breakout rooms, and it's a bit like, I think of it like Star Trek. You kind of go out into space, come into the room, and then you come out, go into space again at the end and come back into the main room. First of all, we're going to enjoy a story called Leap, a salmon story. I'm going to bring it up and we're going to have Caroline sing it, read it for us.
That was springing things on me if I was going to have to sing it. Leap, a salmon's story. Born to leap. From the beginning, she was different. The moment she hatched from her tiny pink egg, she tried to leap, but she couldn't. The yolk from her egg hung from her belly. It slowed her down. For a while, the yolk was her food. As she ate, it got smaller and smaller. Then it was gone. Now she was a fry. She was slim, silver, and 1 inch long. Oh, now how she could leap! All salmon are great leapers, but her leaping was special. I love to leap, she said, flinging herself into the air. You'll never grow big leaping like that, said another salmon. But she did grow, just like the others. Soon they knew it was time to leave home. They swam downstream and headed for the ocean. On the trip, she practiced her leaps. I was born to leap, she said, jumping higher and higher. You'll hurt yourself leaping like that, said the other salmon. But she never did. In the ocean, she practiced her special leaps. She did a sideways roll. She did a double twist. She did a triple backward flip. I must say, said another salmon, she is a lovely leaper. Years later, the salmon knew it was time to go home. It was time to go upstream to spawn. Soon they would lay the eggs that would become baby salmon. They swam against the current of the stream. They struggled through rapids, leaped over waterfalls, and darted away from hungry predators. Then, at one waterfall, they met a bear. We'll never make it, said one salmon. We're done for, said another. Maybe not, said the lovely leaper. She gathered all her strength and swam forward. She leaped with all her might. The bear had never seen anything like it. He watched her go up and up, higher and higher. He watched her twist one way, then another. He watched her flip end over end and then backward. What the bear didn't see was the other salmon as they jumped the waterfall and swam safely away. Quickly, she followed. With one last mighty flip, she was over the falls and gone. Home at last. She dug a hole with her tail. As her final task, she laid hundreds of tiny pink eggs. Before long, the baby salmon would hatch. Like all salmon, they would be great leapers. And maybe one would be a really lovely leaper.
Thanks, Caroline. So, before we sing a fun song that had been created recently by a music therapist down in Australia, I just want to say thank you to the writer of Leap, A Salmon Story, Sharon Fear, and it was illustrated by David Cockcroft from the Learning A to Z resources. So here's how the Spirit Jam is going to work. There are going to, and I'm going to bring up the slide that goes with it just to help. So there are going to be 3 activity stations. We're going to ask you in a moment to click on participants, which would probably be either on the bottom of your screen if you're on the computer, or it might be on the right-hand side or another location if you're on a device. You'll just have to have a look around. And there are some different symbols that we're going to choose. So if you want to be able to use charades, a physical activity, to explore and share what is a special ability that you have to help in your community, then you would go to room 1 with Caroline, and you would choose in the participants section, yes. If you like to draw and want to draw a picture of what you love, then in the participants section, you would choose no, and you would go into room 2. Melissa wasn't able to be with us, so we'll ask for a volunteer facilitator for that. And if you feel like just having a conversation around what happened when you dealt with a challenge and how did you get through it, then you can stay in the main room with me. And to indicate that, in the participant section, you'll choose go slower. So we'll just pause for a moment and ask you to think, which activity would you like to do with a group of people for 15 minutes? Would you like to do some charades? Would you like to draw a picture of something you love? Would you like to share in conversation something about a challenge and how you got through it? We'll pause and quiet for you to think about that. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask people to click, where either at the bottom of your screen or somewhere else on your device, there will be a little button. In my case, it's at the bottom. If you go partway along, it might be in the more section where it says participants. You click on it, and there are some symbols. Some of you have already started choosing. If you want to do charades, you click yes. If you want to, you're not into charades, you'd rather just draw, click no. And if you want to be in conversation, you click go slower. So if people would like to choose one as we go, and if you're having trouble finding that, you can unmute now and either Kasia or I will help support you.
I don't have it on my iPad.
Which would you like to do, Heather? Because I can choose one for you.
I'll do the 3rd one, go slow.
Go slow, okay. Okay. Looks like people are making some choices, which is great. And if you haven't chosen, you will by default end up in my conversation room. And if you just go, you know, I'm happy just to take a 15-minute break, that's okay. You can do that too.
How do I know that my choice has been accepted? Because I clicked and then the participant thing disappeared. So I haven't gotten, nothing's changed.
I'll have a look. Jane, you chose yes.
I did.
Excellent. Good.
Okay, good, thanks.
It's a weird thing about the participants. Once you choose something, it tends to flip you up to the top. All right, I think most people. Matt, do you have a preference?
Drawing, I can't draw.
So you're going to say, are you going to?
I'm drawing, you can put me where you want.
Okay, you can come and be in our conversation then. Okay. All right, I think most people have made a choice. Wendy. You can figure it out as we go. We're going to have, now we're going to have another opportunity to share a song. And this is a fun song that Caroline found online by a music therapist that down in Australia, Alison Davies, who created this little song. And I'm going to unmute Matt and share some words with you. And I guess we'll sing it 3 times through.
And it's very much a movement song.
And it's actually to the tune of Mama's Little Baby Loves Shortening Bread. That's what it really is. So she should put music traditional, but whatever. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well.
Well, that was awesome. I'm still making some choices here. Do you want to do it one more time?
Sure. Every little cell in my body, every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. I'm so happy and well. Happy and well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well.
Thanks, folks. Okay, here's what's going to happen then. I'm going to open these rooms. I think I've got people's choices, but if, for example, you find you're not in the room that you wanted to be in, you can actually move. So you'll see that there's a way of doing that. And if nothing else, then I'll check in with your room and just see if everybody's where they want to be. I am going to tell you what's going to happen. When I open the rooms for, you will go from being in this black Zoom box into sort of like gray space. And then it may ask you to accept that you're being moved to a room. And then you'll pop into that room and gradually people will join there. There's going to be, we have 15 minutes and I'm going to give a 5-minute warning and a 2-minute warning, and then I'll bring you back. And when I bring you back, again, you may have to choose that you're going to accept coming into the room. I think that's it. And I'm going to ask if in the room with breakout room number 2, Kasha, could you just watch a little bit for those blue broadcast messages that say 5-minute warning, 2-minute warning. And obviously, once I start to close the rooms down, you have 1 minute. So you can choose to come, or automatically the rooms will close and you'll come back into the main room. So if you're not really sure what's going on, don't worry, we'll bring you back in. Okay, if all else fails and you get kicked off, just follow the link and come back into the main room and I can get you where you want to go. Are we ready? So very Star Trek-like. We're going to take on the count of 3 out into space. 1, 2, 3, go. All right. I think we got the rooms. And I'm just going to create a little more space for us here on my screen and start my timer. Okay. So our group is about dealing with a challenge, something that you have felt to be in a challenge in your life, just like the salmon facing the bear. When have you had a challenge and how did you deal with it? So let me just see how many people we got and make my screen a little bit bigger here. I can see more of you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so we got, I don't need to share, so about a minute each. So, anybody who feels ready, if you need info about how to unmute, you just put the cursor on your, if you're on a computer, put the cursor on your picture and you'll see a little unmute button. Okay, Heather, go for it. Were you trying to unmute? No. Oh.
Okay, I wasn't, but I'll speak. I'll say something. So, well, there
we go. So we're now coming back from our Spirit Jam activity groups, and we have an opportunity to share and tell for a few people that because we are coming back to the story of the salmon, that we are all born to leap. And would anyone like to talk about an inspiration that they've had given either the activity or something from today, something that you would like to share in our community during this time of challenge? What's the gift you bring? A special ability, a way to deal with a challenge, a way to share what you love? And so, Steve.
I would just like to say first, it was great to hear everybody in our group share. And what I'm learning late in life, and my story I told is an example of that, is that it's often better to listen than to make an assumption and talk first. And I tend to always want to resolve something and speak about it first. And I'm learning belatedly, it's better to just listen for a while and then enter in maybe slowly.
Thank you for that. Few others. Caroline, anything you want to say in, about your charade activity group?
Well, all of our people were very talented at charades and acted out loads of special gifts they have. Juliana had an amazing way of sharing her baking with her neighbors by putting the cookies she's baking into specially sterilized Ziploc bags and giving them to her neighbor in order to stay connected to them. And Rose has a special gift for comforting people. And Lily makes beautiful origami. And Satya plays hide and seek and entertains people. And Jane does crochet and walks around the neighborhood being friendly to everyone she sees. And Dan has a special ability to talk with the animals and keep them happy in these stressful times. Debbie gardens and helps grow things from nature. And so everybody had lovely special talents. And I would like to take the opportunity, because I think often these things don't get said, to acknowledge Meg's special talent of bringing us together, and what an awesome job she has done of initiating this whole Zoom experience for us all, which I think is really helping everyone in this time of challenge. So from everyone, Meg, I thank you very much.
Thank you. That warms my heart. You can't necessarily see because it's if I'm in a little picture, but I have tears in my eyes, so thank you. I'm very blessed to be with you all. Is there anybody that drew a picture that would like to hold their picture up to share? Don't feel required to, but is there anybody who drew a picture that would like to show it to us? And if so, and I'm going to unmute you so that we can hear you, Nina and Marvin. Do you want to unmute yourselves? And there we are.
If they speak when they show it, we'll all be able to see it.
Exactly.
Okay, so I went upstairs and drew this picture of one of the things that I love to do, or we love to do, and that is canoeing in nature, being in trees. And this has a sunset in it.
Beautiful. Thanks, Nina. Any other pictures that are coming up on the screen? Arlene, do you want to unmute and say something so we can see your picture well?
Hi, this is a portrait of one of the daffodils that I put lots of bulbs in pots last fall, and they are starting to bloom now. This past week, more and more are blooming, and I'm enjoying them so much. I love the color, and yeah, and the other thing is I love Easter, and I love coloring Easter eggs. I'm looking forward to that very soon. Yeah, this weekend I'll be coloring Easter eggs. Yeah, and enjoying, well, just with Mike, but you know, that's okay. And my family, my children and my grandchildren are going to have a Zoom group chat or call, and we're going to share our Easter eggs that we've dyed, show them off, and also butter lambs as well. That's in my tradition, and so I sent out the instructions today.
Thanks, Arlene.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Any of the kids that have one that they might like to share? Don't feel required. Many of you might have been in the activity part. Yeah. Okay. So I see that we're almost at 5, and so I'm going to suggest that we are going to sing a song. And then I think we're going to share the joys and concerns next week. If you have a joy or concern that you would like the community to know, if you want to type it into the to the chat, that's one way of doing it. And also know that there'll be an opportunity next week as well, and Deb will be leading that. So the song is When the Spirit Says Do, and we've because we've been born to leap, we're changing the one of the verses so that it's going to be When the Spirit Says Leap. So I'm going to unmute Matt and bring up the screen here so you can get the words.
Yeah, it's a leap year, so it's good to leap on a leap year. So, yeah. Let me know if it's too loud. Is that too loud?
No, it's good.
You gotta do what the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do the Lord. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. Okay, there's this other part to the song that goes like this. The Spirit says do. The Spirit says do. The Spirit says do. The Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, the Spirit says do. Something like that. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance. Oh, no, no, no. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 And you gotta leap when the Spirit says leap. You gotta leap when the Spirit says leap. Well, you gotta leap when the Spirit says leap. Oh Lord, you gotta leap when the Spirit says leap. Leap. Spirit says 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 leap. You gotta love when the Spirit says love. You gotta love when the Spirit says love. The Spirit says love. Oh Lord, oh Lord. You gotta love when the Spirit says love. 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 The Spirit says love.
Thanks, Matt.
A little bit rough, but
Well, we're singing. It's good. So I'm going to ask Arlene if she would unmute and just remind us at this time, how do we share our resources within this community?
Well, we don't have a basket, not even a virtual one. So first of all, I'd like to thank you, all of you, for your donations. Your financial support ensures that our programs can continue and that we can pay our staff even when we can't meet in person. Believe you me, they're working harder now, I think, than they were when we met in person. If at this time, though, your financial circumstances have been affected by the pandemic and you need to adjust your giving, please don't hesitate to contact me. It takes a couple of weeks, a little bit of time to adjust the automatic withdrawals, if that's what the way you contribute. So you can use an e-transfer to donate using our email address, CVUF-TRES, that's small letters, CVUF-TREAS@gmail.com. Or you can mail in a check to the office at 250 Beach Drive and address checks, please, to CVUF. To offer additional assistance to others who might be in need through our Care and Concern discretionary fund, you can write at the bottom of a check for discretionary fund. Thank you.
Thanks, Arlene. And yes, thanks to everybody for their support, both financial, human, heart, spirit. I'll say our closing words. Caroline will extinguish the chalice with us, and a couple of announcements of what's coming up, and then we'll sing Carry the Flame. These words by Israel Bafardi. My friends, when you go from here, know that your hearts are always in a holy place, for we are always connected to one another. Know that deep down, our hearts beat together as one. May we each find the sacred space to hear that beating heart. I'll ask Caroline to lead us in extinguishing our chalices.
And I invite you all to extinguish your chalices with me now.
So a couple things that are coming up this week. There is a come and join with me in a tea and chat. We're going to have a tea and chat at least once a week for this week. It happens to be on Thursday from 2 to 3, and you can find the Zoom link and information. If you're interested, let me know, mroberts@uuma.org, in case we end up needing to add password in, and then I can send it out to those who would like to join me. It's very informal. It's just a chance to get together and share some time and stories. We hope to do that weekly, and there'll be more information in the upcoming communicator. Next Sunday at 4 via Zoom, the gathering coordinator is Deb Howard. Thanks, Deb. In these times of physical distancing, to protect our communities from the COVID virus, how do we maintain social connections? How do we include those on the edges? So watch the communicator again if the password is needed, and if we need to use a waiting room, it just means that you're going to be put into that waiting room and then the host will bring you in. So again, it's just a chance to try and create safe space for us all. So carry the flame. I will put up the words for those who may need it. And that's unmuted.
Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet
again.
Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet
again.
And then we shall see a world of light and a world of joy. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet
again.
Thanks, Arlene. We had a little extra singing in there. That was kind of fun.
Oh.
It's okay, no worries. Now you know what it's experience for anybody who is listening, what it's like to try and sing on Zoom. There's a little bit of a delayed reaction, but it's still
Oh.
beautiful nonetheless.
Oh, latency, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We should probably try singing a song with all of us unmuted and see what a cacophony it is. It'd be
You
fun.
can come with me to the tea and chat on Thursday from 2 to 3, and we will experiment.
Okay,
We'll
that'd be
know
great.
how it goes. So we wish you well. For those who, I'm going to put a little bit in the chat for those who would like to learn a little bit more about salmon, and know that it is part of our community of all beings, that the salmon are part of that. So if you'd like to watch the video, learn a little bit more about our dear ones, our finned ones, as they are in their cycle, and whatever support we can offer them. I'm going to stay around, so feel free to stay around and visit a little bit. And we wish you well, go safely.
Is the link for the chat